are now looking at a 2023 Mercedes-Benz EQA 250 in fridge freezer white. And in these little videos, we sometimes like to go off topic. You know, like avoiding the mainstream EV questions. What does it cost? How many chargers are there? What about load shedding? Is it cheaper to run than a diesel? Etc., etc. No, what we'd like to do is tell you some bizarrely random and or surprising information. Like the fact that the acronym EQA also stands for Environmental Quality Assessment, European Quilt Association, Editorial Quality Audit, Emirates Quality Association, and or Emulated Quick Allocation. While EQA.com relays to some sort of medical testing equipment website. In Mercedes terms, they've started a Mercedes EQ sub-brand, and all their electric vehicle badges start with an EQ. Although they somehow ran into problems already by building two versions of the EQS. Seriously? Anyway, this EQA is very loosely related to the regular Mercedes-Benz GLA crossover, and, at least in our neck of the woods, is only available with one motor in the front, and hence front-wheel drive. You can choose the sensible progressive trim, or go for the ever-popular AMG line effort, to really, really drive your EV Splinter under the fingernail of any petrolhead. Elsewhere in the world of subcompact luxury crossovers, this 250 model is called 260 because of reasons. Also, we checked all the stats, dimensions, battery, power, range, number of buttons and stitches in the seats, but nothing, absolutely nothing adds up to 250 or 260. So, that's just the made-up number. Probably indicative of a power range, or level, as proudly pioneered by those crackheads at the Audi badge department. But back to this little electric Merc, which some countries can have with twin motors and, you guessed it, 4MATIC all-wheel drive. A benefit of us Southern Africans only getting the front-wheel drive version is the novelty of inside wheel spin in tight corners or on slippery surfaces. Performance is also quite entertaining with a claimed 0 to 100 time of 8.6 seconds, which we beat by quite a margin. MB claims a limited top speed of 160 km an hour, and it is absolutely true. Ours topped out at an indicated 163, while the GPS recorded a peak velocity of 158.82 km an hour. Right, what about charging? Well, what about it? If you're sitting in Stockholm, your requirements and resources will be completely different to those of someone who lives in, say, Uzakos. It's best if you chat to your nearest Mercedes-Benz dealer and make some own inquiries into the charging network of your neighborhood. More random stuff we can tell you is that most observers didn't like the looks of this vehicle, especially when compared to its fossil-fueled cousins. The interior is nicely done, no major complaints here, as its layout and gadgets lean very strongly on existing cabins. Unlike the EQC or EQS sedan, which have their own weird EV vibes going on. Speaking of which, they even pipe UFO noises through the speakers, while this little EQA, as you probably heard earlier, does not. It just has a sort of electric hum, and when you're commuting around town or cruising on the highway, it's incredibly quiet. That might be an obvious fact, but it's one we shouldn't forget to chalk up as a positive of modern electric vehicles. What else? Oh yes, being an electric car, you don't need to warm up the engine before caning it. Although there isn't a traditional grille, it does have radiators, if you look carefully, to cool the batteries probably. Also, sunflowers track the sun, have been to space, and the biggest one was about 9 meters high. We also noticed that the charge and power dial changes its description based on what the drivetrain is currently up to, and the text disappears completely if you're coasting or, for lack of a better description, idling. Oh, And ever since I used this car for a few days in my daily routine, my daughter greets every single new press vehicle with the question, "Papa, is this an electric car?" Okay, in summary, our profuse apologies to anyone who made it this far into the video, hoping to get the same specs and flowery opinions you get in most EQA reviews. But at least you've learned something new about sunflowers, and you're now forever burdened with the knowledge that someone out there counted every single button inside a new EQA 250.
Galimoto.